Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Growth Class. I'm your host, Phil Masiello. And if you're looking to take your brand from a spark of an idea to a powerhouse on the shelves, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're diving into a side of entrepreneurship that doesn't get talked about enough. How do you completely reinvent a category by making it fun? So my guest today is Tomo, a brilliant founder behind Noshi for Kids. If you haven't seen Noshi, it's probably pronounced Noshi, yet they're changing the game of the kids' food space with organic, edible food paint. Imagine giving kids a tube of delicious, healthy fruit puree and telling them, go ahead, draw on your food. Turns breakfast into a canvas, solves a massive pain point for parents everywhere.
I stop you for a second. The product we're about to launch is not organic fruit puree, it's frosting. The previous product was organic fruit puree.
Okay, so it's icing.
Frosting.
Icing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just didn't want you to get all the way into that and then me have to correct you.
Right. So, but as every founder listening knows, turning a playful creative concept into a scalable CPG product with retail distribution is a whole different beast. So today, we're going to get into that grit, the growth strategies, the big wins that put Noshi on the map. Tomo, welcome to Crunch Growth.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So why don't you explain it then a little bit?
Well, I'll try and keep it under 3 days because you don't have that much time. But briefly, I was working in the fashion industry for 20 years. That's all I'd ever wanted to do. Then I sort of outgrew it. I felt like I was the oldest person in the room and it was time for a change. So I became a stay-at-home parent. And that was blissful, obviously, in nearly every respect, except for the fact that neither of my kids was very interested in mealtimes. They weren't picky eaters. They would eat vegetables happily, but it was just getting them up to the table and inspired by mealtimes. And I Googled picky eating, and because this was definitely a version of it, I suppose. And the answer was staring me in the face. If you Google picky eating, the answer is very, very easy to come by, which is to say, what you have to do is give kids more control in the preparation of their food, both in the kitchen and at the table. And so to my mind, that meant giving them products or there being products that they could use themselves. And so I went shopping in New York here. And to look for these products, I assumed there were numerous of them. And of course, there were zero. And that really surprised me because it is a problem that every single parent on the face of the planet has encountered at least once, if not a million times. And so I started to think about a new career, and that new career centering around food products that children could use themselves. And a friend of mine, when I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and they jokingly said, what about edible paint? And I laughed. And then I actually stopped and thought, actually, that's the solution to my problem, because my kids are sitting over here playing with crayons and watching cartoons, and they don't want to stop doing that to come and eat this food. Why don't I make that appear on the table? And so I just ran with it. I had the time to do it because my youngest child had just started preschool. And so I had 3 hours each day to start looking into whether I could do this. And of course, I had no industry experience and floundered around for months before I found anybody in the industry in a position to help me. And that was 11 years ago, and I'm still doing it now.
But you started out doing purees.
Yeah, because at the time I was my target audience. I was a millennial mom, right? And so I wanted to feed my then 4-year-old and 8-year-old children as healthily as possible. And so my interpretation of edible paint was that it had to be organic. And so the only way it could be organic is if it was fruit and maybe vegetable puree, different colored fruit and vegetable purees in different tubes. This being one of the earliest iterations of it. That's the strawberry tube. And again, down to my lack of industry experience. My lack of industry experience is what caused me to just keep going, because I didn't realize how tough it was going to be. But it was also what hindered the development of this product, because I thought I had created a unique product, which I thought was a really good thing. And of course, if you have any industry experience, it's the worst thing in the world you can do, because you need people to be buying stuff that they understand and that they already buy. So my interpretation of edible paint was organic fruit puree, and children loved it immediately. I mean, this is the thing that's always driven me forward and driven the business forward, is that whenever I've given our products to children, they cannot wait to get their hands on it. They can't believe that you've created something for them to use. And the whole thing, our tagline has always been play with your food. Some parents have pushed back against that. And I've said, why are you objecting to that? What you don't understand is that as soon as you give a child a task, all they want to do is complete it to show you that they can be trusted to do it and that they can do it. They're not going to squirt this stuff over their little baby sister's face or up the walls or across the kitchen. They are going to use it to do what you've told them it's for. And that was really encouraging. But the parents never quite got on board with the first version of this. And that was because we had created an organic product, so we couldn't add food coloring to it. And because of that, the colors were quite underwhelming. Organic, when you've pasteurized strawberries, they start to turn brown and the textures were different and it just wasn't right. And so we persevered. And to be fair, I got that product into Walmart and I got it onto Shark Tank and I got a deal from Mark Cuban. And it was actually Cuban's team who helped me start to reimagine it as frosting, which is the product we're about to launch now.
So why not just change the purees from organic to non-organic? Because what you're doing now is not organic. So why not just change that so that the color would hold?
Well, a couple of things. If you call a product food paint and you put it in a tube like that, as a parent, of course, you expect the product to come out of that tube to look like paint. And frosting enables it to come out of that tube looking like paint. But when I was introduced to the guy who first put the idea in my head, of course, I did push back against it. I said, we can't possibly do that. This is an organic brand, but thank you so much for your thinking. What happened later was that I met a woman who inspired me to actually start looking into this. And I then went to my food scientist, Fred, and I said, you can't make frosting healthier, can you? And he said, yes, we can. And I said, how? And he said, natural colors, natural flavors, vitamins, nutrients. And at that point, I suddenly saw the way forward. And that actually was about 6 months before RFK Jr. ever mentioned his personal crusade against artificial food dyes. Because, of course, artificial is the one sensible thing he's ever said. Artificial food dyes are a big, big issue in this country and all over the world, in fact. But in this country, especially because of the lack of regulations, some of the food colors that are used in kids' food especially are really not healthy. And so there's a growing voice of discontent amongst parents in America for more naturally colored versions of products they already buy. And so again, that was an obvious box that I could check by creating a naturally colored version of frosting. And that is our big selling point. That's the thing I'm most proud about of our product, is that it is naturally colored. The colors don't look natural at all. They look highly artificial, which is, again, brilliant. But they are actually all natural, and it's naturally flavored as well. And no other, frosting generally isn't flavored beyond vanilla and chocolate. Ours is blueberry flavored, mango flavored, lime flavored, and raspberry flavored. It's a product that I'm really, really proud of.
Yeah, I agree with you about the artificial colors. I mean, we have a couple of clients that have products with no art. That's their pitch in the gelatin pudding space, and I think it's great because when you travel around the world, nobody uses the colors that we use. Even if you go to Canada, and you look at the products that are equivalent to here, same brand name, they don't have artificial colors in them. So
No, I know.
I agree 100% about, with getting rid of artificial colors. And we see the difference. I mean, we market a ton of brands that are on that path. And it's not just in food, it's also in cosmetics and beauty products and personal care products, et cetera. So, yeah, I think it's a trend that's not going away, and I think I'm not against it at all. I think it's great.
Thank you.
So what's on the next phase then? You've re-engineered the products. Now what? Now you've got to go out and sell them.
True. I had that conversation with Fred last January 25, and he spent all of last year developing a product which he got to a point in December that we were both really, really happy with. I mean, I was quite, what's the word I'm looking for? Quite demanding, I suppose. It has to be this good for us to actually bother moving forward with this product. And he got it to a point where it was that good, and the colors were amazing, the flavors were amazing. And then we were introduced to our now current co-packer, who happened to be a company that works with colors. And they had just finished developing their own range of natural food colors. And they said, we'd love to do this with you, but would you mind if we integrated our natural colors into your product? And I said, well, show us. And they showed us these amazing, amazing colors. And so that was an obvious, a match made in heaven as far as I was concerned. And the product that we've now come up with, which was actually finalized, the formulations were finalized literally 3 weeks ago. And next phase is launch. The tubes are being printed now with the new ingredient panels. That was the thing that was delaying that process to move forward. And we should be live and selling product and shipping product out to customers by the end of July, if not early August.
Do you have customers? Do you think you're going to get Walmart back or?
No, this is a DTC play. I sold my products into Walmart for 5 years, and I actually only came out on the advice of various people around me because the margins just weren't good enough. Again, we had 4 layers of packaging. It was an organic product. All of the ingredients were organic. It worked and it made us enough money to keep moving forward, but it was never going to be a game changer. And I'm very, very much hope to continue working with Walmart. A lot of people have a problem with Walmart. I don't really understand why. As a CPG brand owner, they are the best customer in the world because they're huge. There's no distribution stage of the game. You ship straight to Walmart. So I very much hope to be selling into Walmart in the future. But for now, we're launching this product on Amazon and TikTok Shop. TikTok Shop especially, because of what the product is and how good it looks and the branding, I know that it's going to go viral. I'm very, very confident that it has a really, really good chance of going properly viral. And so something like TikTok Shop is a game changer, of course, because people will see a TikTok with my product in it and they can just go straight to my TikTok Shop and order it through Shopify and it'll be on its way to them by the end of the day.
Yeah. I know exactly what the problem is, why people have problems with Walmart. And, it's with any retailer, actually. When you have most people go to Walmart and they have a Me Too product, Walmart doesn't need another pasta sauce. So when you go in there and you push your pasta sauce and you want Walmart to take your pasta sauce, they've already got that problem solved. So now you're pushing hard to get it in there and they don't really need it. So, when you have a unique product, Walmart is great to work with. They're very fair, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They've always been fair. They don't play a lot of games on the back end. You're not playing, slotting, rebates, discounts, accruals. It just doesn't happen.
And that is amazing.
Yeah. But and again, you're 100% right. There's no middleman. You're going direct to Walmart. But where I found people have problems with it is when you're going in there trying to give them a solution to a problem they've already solved 100 times. And so that's where
I think frosting is a strange space. It's sort of almost entirely monopolized by 4 brands in this country. There's organic frosting, there's smaller organic frosting brands, but that's a different formulation process, it's a different business model effectively. The 4 existing the big frosting companies, which is Betty Crocker, Duncan Hines, Wilton, and Pillsbury, they trying to choose my words carefully. Natural colors are 10 times more expensive to buy than artificial colors. So for them to launch naturally colored versions of their existing products is going to be very expensive because they sell their existing products at a pretty decent, I would imagine their margin's pretty amazing. Whereas I can launch my naturally colored frosting and sell it for the same price as their artificially colored frosting. And so that is where there is an opportunity in this space. I mean, the guy that Mark Cuban's team introduced me to, who originally put the idea of frosting in my head, was a guy called Bob. The reason his words stuck in my head was that he said to me, there has been zero innovation in frosting since 1915 when buttercream was invented. It was 111 years ago. He's like, if you do anything to drag frosting into the 21st century, you will have a slam dunk on your hands. And he's right. I mean, it's an interesting space because every child in America eats frosting. It's a $2 billion a year industry in America, but it sort of goes under the radar. You almost don't even think about frosting. You think about, you go to a kid's birthday party and kids eat cupcakes with frosting on them, but you don't actually think of frosting as an industry, but it's actually a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah. There's no question, and it's true. There hasn't been any innovation in that category in you know, in over a century. I
I know
think there's a
since
couple of categories out there like that that have just been the same, and you start to see innovation, you start to see change in different
yeah.
ways.
My background in fashion was in production, and I have OCD. So what gives me the greatest joy in the world is having boxes that I can tick and finding new boxes to tick and closing that one up and finding a way to close that one up. And having stumbled upon this solution to a problem that didn't supposedly didn't exist, it has been incredibly satisfying actually because frosting, some frosting out there is amazing, some of it's delicious, but for the most part, because there are so few options to choose from, nobody's ever really had to try too hard to make it better. And having that opportunity presented to me, and then having a team willing and able to actually make real strides in bringing frosting into the 21st century by making not just one change, but numerous changes, has been incredibly satisfying for me. I'm like, this is a big thing that we're doing here.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it could be it could be huge. It's because it's definitely something that people use all the time. They use it over and over again. So you've got that. I mean, direct to consumer. I think you're right. You could visually do a tremendous amount of work with it for TikTok and for Reels and for any digital channels. Um, but you're right. Yeah, TikTok. I mean, I think TikTok has been a boom in a lot of ways when you can present something really well visually. Like I said, we have a couple of clients that are in spaces like puddings and gelatins and things like that, where they've gotten rid of the artificial colors. And it's so visual to make the product and to shoot it and to do videos with it that it just naturally sells itself. And you can do fun things with it. So you can be very creative with it. Almost like a few years ago, there was that trend with what the heck was it called? Goop or Gorp or
Slime.
something? No, slime. Slime, that was it.
Yeah.
And, kids were making slime, and doing all kinds of things with it, but it became a whole trend for about 2 years. So,
So I've got tubes of edible slime in 4 primary colors that are delicious, that are primarily marketed to children, that children will absolutely kill to get their hands on. And then that's even before they open the tube. Then they're going to open the tube and this bright colored product comes pouring out of the tube, and then they taste it and it looks amazing. And it's making every child that comes into contact with it laugh and scream with excitement. I mean, again, I didn't set out to tick all of these boxes, but it's just ticked them for me. It's great.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you could go to you could start going around to some schools and shoot some really great video of, for to use online.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the day where we've got product in hand here, and I'm going to get a cart and just wheel it around the city full of tubes of frosting and hand out tubes of naturally colored frosting to every family that allows me to give it to their children.
And shoot the
Yeah,
video. Bring it
and
to the
shoot the
park
video of
and
them
shoot the video.
receiving it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like the Coke Pepsi challenge of yesteryear wasn't really about what was better. It was really about people's reaction to, the
Yeah.
the flavor. And
Yep.
so when you start thinking about how you can capture that reaction, because that's what you want the reaction, you want the kids' reaction,
Yeah.
and
And
that
it
could
lends
be
itself to user generated content as well. I know that families are going to buy this stuff and take it home and open it and then film their kids using it. And it's like I said, it's going to have a snowball effect. There's nothing about it that's going to slow down its virality. It's going to, everything about it lends itself to be having content created around it. And
yeah.
and as far as marketing concerned, obviously that's a slam dunk. But I'm actually more excited to start to hear about children enjoying it and hearing stories about, why they've it's not, they're not just going to be enjoying it because their parents bought them some frosting that has kid-friendly branding on it. It's actually delicious as well. Put aside the natural colors versus the artificial flavors. It tastes good. If you some of the existing frosting in tubes that you can buy, it doesn't taste good. And those brands are relying on the taste of the cookie or the cupcake that you put it on to mask the taste of the actual frosting itself. Whereas my products all taste absolutely amazing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the tubed icings and the tubed frostings are not good. We don't, I've never really bought them, but no, I mean, the kids' reactions to it and the kids' endorsement is what's gonna
Yeah,
do it. But,
yeah,
the UGC content is gonna come from the moms that have the channels, 'cause there's probably, I know that there's well over 400 women that have channels talking about not only food, but, um, natural, colorings, and, that's your sort of entrance in. The flavor becomes the taste becomes the, hook. So,
yeah. And the branding doesn't hurt either, right?
yeah. Yeah. No, 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 I think it's good. I wish you well. I think it's gonna
Thank you.
do, quite well with it.
So
I
do I.
definitely, I understand the change from doing the purees, and I understand the desire to do that change.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, everything about Food Paint version 1 was great. As we're sitting here with me having been in the industry for 11 years, having not quit, having just refused to stop. And everything I learned in getting version 1 of the product is probably what's enabled me to keep going. I learned so much about the industry in doing that. I mean, I've really chosen the most difficult path into the industry and through the industry by creating a unique product with a $0 budget and just refusing to stop, basically.
yeah, no question about it. No question. Just because something doesn't work the first time doesn't mean that you stop and scrap it. You make adjustments and you move on. That's what entrepreneurship's all
Yeah.
about.
I think food paint as an idea, my wife works in marketing. She was the one that came up with the name of food paint. It's a really good name. And it just didn't live up to its name. And it was the name that kept me moving forward. Somebody turned around to me a couple of years ago and said, because we sort of took a brief foray into savory condiments, and somebody said, you should really get back onto the food paint thing because that was a brilliant, brilliant idea. And it was when that person said that, in combination with somebody seeing my version of Shark Tank and getting in contact with me and me having coffee with her and sort of plotting with her, that we came up with this plan to take the frosting route. And it's really played out. I think it's played out very well.
Yeah. No, no, no. I agree with you. So we're almost out of time. So any parting words? Where will people be able to find your product? You say you should be monetizing by the end of July, beginning of August, somewhere around there.
Yeah, our website, obviously, noshiforkids.com, noshiforkids.com, and it'll be on TikTok Shop, where we are also Noshi for Kids, and it'll be on Amazon probably a couple of weeks after everywhere else. But it will be available by August at the latest, and you won't regret buying it. That's all I can say. It's pretty amazing.
Do you have a pre-launch list so people can go there and put their email address in?
It's actually available to pre-order on our website right now. You can actually go to our website and order it and have it delivered as soon as we start shipping.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Great
Thank you.
stuff.
Thank you.
Nah, I like it. I like the pivot. I like the way that you pivoted from what you were doing before. I think it's great. So, make sure to check out Nashi for Kids. See exactly what they're painting, a new future for kids, fun, kids nutrition, kids enjoyment. So, if you like today's episode, hit the subscribe button, leave us a review, share this with a fellow founder who needs to hear it. And until next time, I'm Phil Masiello. Keep scaling, keep innovating, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Phil.
Bye.